Our next guest is a musical mastermind behind some of the biggest hits of the past decade. He's penned #1 singles for Usher, Beyonce, Trey Songz, and the list goes on and on and on.
But now he's finally singing his own tune.
Yeah.
Here to discuss his very first full-length solo album is rapper, vocalist, songwriter, Rico Love.
Rico
Welcome to Arise.
Love.
Well, look, let's go over some of these songs. I mean, these are all Lola's and my favorites. Sweet Dreams by Beyonce, Without You by David Guetta, Heart Attack by Trey Songz, There Goes My Baby by Usher. Is there...
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
We do that. We'll do that from time to time. Is there a
love it.
track that holds special meaning for you? Maybe the first?
I know mine.
I think, yeah, maybe the first. The first song I ever wrote was a song called Throwback, which was on the Confessions album for Usher. That's how I got my start as a songwriter. So I think that's always going to be way more special because it's the first song I ever wrote.
Do you know your biggest?
My biggest, I don't know which one. Maybe Just a Dream for Nelly. It was like 8 million singles, I believe.
8 million.
Yeah, it was a big one. But you never, honestly, I don't know which one was the biggest. That somebody else had to tell me.
Which
You know
one
when
do
you go
love
to the club.
most?
Yeah.
The thing about it is the songs that I love the most are the ones that weren't the biggest hits.
Really?
Okay.
Like
I wrote a
which
song
one?
called Die for Usher. That was such a
I know
beautiful
that
song.
one.
And it didn't really reach its full potential, I felt like. And I wrote a song for Carrie Hilson called Energy that I thought was one of my best, some of my best work.
that was.
And I wrote a song for Brandy called No Such Thing as Too Late, which I thought was one of my best songs I ever wrote. And, you know, sometimes it happens like that. But believe it or not, the ones that hit are usually not my favorites.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Let's
That's so
talk-
interesting.
Yeah, let's talk about some of these
I mean, I
hits.
love all of my work, though.
Yeah,
I
we
love
do
it. I
too.
appreciate it.
And you've racked up 3 Grammys, 30 platinum records, and well over 1 billion video views, all from behind the scenes. What's
Yeah.
it feel like to have that much power in the music industry?
You know what? I think my contribution as a writer is very valuable, but power is the reason why I decided to take the stage myself. I don't think I had the power.
Really?
You don't
Why
have-
do you say that?
Because after you write the song, you give it to the record company, and you're powerless after that. You'll spend 1.5 years working on a project, and after that, you don't get to make the decisions. It's like a work for hire. I sell you the record. Obviously, I get my royalties and publishing for the record.
That's right.
But at the end of the day, I have no control over what happens with the song, especially when you feel like you put your heart and soul in everything you do. When a list of records I've written, you can see the passion and emotion behind all of those lyrics. I don't write a lot of fluff, a lot of, you know, ditties or jingles type,
Yeah.
you know, records, if you will. So a lot of times you don't get to control the things that you put out. And being at this seat, I control everything. I own my record company. I did a 50-50 joint venture label deal with Interscope. I'm super excited about that. And, you know, I'm able to dictate which record comes out. I produce the record, I write the record, I perform the record. Now that's power.
Yeah.
I feel
That's
like.
power. Well,
That's
let's talk
true.
about it now. We've seen you featured on EPs and with other artists, but this is your first full-length album.
First
so
full-length album.
this is Turn the Lights On. What
Yes,
can we expect?
It's very emotional, you know.
Oh, why
the lead
emotional?
the lead single, Somebody Else, is basically the end of the story. So now we're gonna explain how do we get to this particular point? How did you lose the girl? And I think that's a true story. We could talk about success, we could talk about fame, we could talk about having money, but I think that doesn't give us an idea of who an artist is. I think the true test of who an artist is showing pain, showing despair, showing the effects of success in all of those things.
Do you
So,
stay there, or do you show a range of the colors?
I show a range of it. I just feel like I'm explaining the story. I feel like concept albums are so much more needed. I think people are all over the place. You really notice that,
It's a
especially
lost-
in
Rico,
it's
we
a lost
live in,
art
and,
form.
Yeah.
and we live in a singles era where it's all
Exactly.
about the single. It's not about the entire body of work.
I think urban music lives in that era. But if you look at Ed Sheeran, if you look at Sam Smith, if you look at Adele, you look at all these artists who are, Hosea just dropped the album, it was incredible. Like, think about these people who are making incredible bodies of work and selling them. Taylor Swift, say what you want about it, it's pop, but it's incredible writing.
Yes, it is.
It's emotional, it's passion, it's substance. Urban radio does not have that. So I want to be the guy who makes great songs and it still works at urban and works in our format, but just enlightens our people. You know, I'm very passionate about the things that the youth, young black youth especially, are taking in, and I get upset with a lot of the content that's out right now. So my mission is to just write great quality songs, work my behind off to get people to love and notice them, and do something I feel like that contributes to the culture and push the culture forward.
What have you enjoyed, other than the power, most about stepping in front of the scenes?
Performing. The most fun you could ever have. I remember when I started my career off as a rapper, I was signed to Usher in 2003. And I remember in 2004, during the Truth Tour, I was on tour with Usher and Kanye West, and I remember performing at the Garden. And I think that's the biggest thing you could do. So from that day, I've vowed to myself that I'll headline the Garden myself. So I think that performing, it's something about being able to connect to the people directly. And I've sat in arenas and watched crowds sing my song and they don't even know I wrote it. And I think that's an amazing feeling as well.
That's got to be a goosebump moment, I would
Absolutely,
think.
absolutely. I wrote a song for Romeo Santos, who's a huge bachata artist, and it's called Promise. And I wrote another song for him called Odios. But I remember watching him sell out the Garden 3 nights in a row, singing a record I wrote. You know, and it's incredible to be able to be a part of that. But it has to be way more gratifying to be able to be on the stage and you know, give it to them direct.
Take us back to the first time you heard one of your songs on the radio.
It was a song called All Because of You by Marcus Houston. This was back in 2005.
Set the scene. Where
And
were you? What happened?
I caught the tail end of it. Everybody was screaming, yo, it's on the radio, it's on it. And I ran to the front of the house. This was when I was living in an apartment with some friends of mine in Atlanta. And I ran to the front of the house and I heard the tail end of the song. And it just felt so, you know, it was incredible. But then after that, it was just in heavy rotation after that. But it was just cool to be able to know that something you thought of. But even before I heard a record on the radio, I remember writing Throwback for Usher and then watching him perform it around the world and being able to be a part of that, performing with him on the stage and seeing people's reaction as soon as the first note drops. That's the thing that you know you got to hit. As soon as they hear the first chord and they scream because they know what's coming, that's an incredible feeling.
Your stats are so huge, we keep having to look at our notes. But your first single, Somebody Else, has already clocked over 1 million views on YouTube. How does that feel to know that you are still hot? You've been around a long time, but you're still hot.
Yeah, I think, you know, it's always good to get that visibility. I believe it's just so much more. See, the disadvantage I have is that I came in the game under Usher. So no matter what I've done, I just feel like I was with him in his height, you know? So I stay humble and I understand that there's so much more for me to do. I don't get caught up in the numbers. Honestly, I couldn't even tell you which was my biggest selling single or anything like that. But, you know, it's just, I just try to pay attention to what, you know, what's ahead of me, you know?
What's the key to writing a hit song? Because I need a side hustle.
I think the key is
hit.
to say the most obvious thing in a way that's never been said before. You know, I wrote There Goes My...
It's a lot easier than it is.
I wrote There Goes My Baby about watching a woman get dressed and just realizing that, like, how incredibly beautiful she was. Sometimes you're with somebody every day and you don't notice their greatness because you're so used to them, but sometimes you sit back and you're just like, wow, there goes my baby. You know, just simple things like that.
Basics. Real quick, should we expect more amazing collaborations from you and Usher?
Absolutely. I just was in the studio with Usher 2 days ago. We was in LA just hanging out, and we just got in the studio and was vibing. Usher's one of my best friends, you know, and he inspires me so much. You know, he gave me his critiques on the album and just really basically told me how much he loves the record. And you know, just gave different advice on performances and things like that. But he gave me 5 stars.
Nice.
Yeah.
Can we talk about these diamonds before you go? Is that what songwriting gets you? How many? Now, that's a heart.
Yeah,
How many diamonds on that heart of yours over there?
It's a lot of diamonds.
Really?
Yeah. It's a lot of diamonds in my real heart, too.
In your real heart,
I think
too.
that's more important.
That's more important. You're being shy now.
He's priceless.
Rico
Exactly. I
Love.
like the way you think.
Priceless. Thank you so much.
Wait a
for
minute,
being
it's a
here.
song title, Priceless. Let's get
We
to
can
the
collab on
studio.
that, right?
Let's call Usher. Let's call Usher.
You call Usher. We're going to go to break. You're watching Arise Entertainment 360. We'll be right back. Rico Love. Thank you.